Welcome, everybody. Hope the crowd stays in control tonight. Welcome to the school committee meeting, regular session of our committee, Thursday, March 13th, 2025. It is 6 p.m. We are at Swampscott High School, room B129. I'm Glenn Pastor, the chair. And we are going to get going. Just as a couple housekeeping items, we have a couple members of our committee who are unable to attend this evening. Superintendent Angelakis also is unable to attend. On Zoom, we have Cheryl Stella, and here we are. So I call this meeting to order. If you are so able, please let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Do we have anything for love of learning this evening? Do we know?
We do not.
Okay. Excellent. So we'll start with committee comments. John, enlighten us.
Just one. I just wanted to comment on the tri-board meeting we had last week. I thought it was helpful to kind of get the information we've been dealing with for months and months, and the situation we know what we're dealing with kind of, more broadly disseminated, more broadly understood and known in the community. I think that's really important to know, what we've been struggling with as a school committee to put together the best budget that we can possibly put together, and discuss our rationales with a wider audience. I thought that was really helpful. So we'll see what happens, but I thought it was a helpful meeting.
Great, thank you. Amy.
I concur. It was nice to know that was a first of its kind, or at least in our tenure, a first of its kind. So I appreciate the select board making that happen. I want to give a shout out to the adults and the Room of Color at their basketball game last night. It was apparently a heartbreaker.
It was. It was.
It was really fun, the part that I was there for. And I'm just looking forward to having our student reps back so we can hear about what's happening in the schools and what's happening with their college journey.
Yeah, all right, thank you. I'm actually kind of curious to that myself. I'm going to kind of hold on my comment until the chair portion of it. Thank you very much. So we're going to go directly to reports, reports and discussions, superintendent's report. Mr. Kalishman.
Great. We're going to start with the school calendar.
Okay.
All right. So we have our first draft of the school calendar up, and we have the 2 PD days to start the year are going to be Monday, August 25th and Tuesday, August 26th. The first day for students outside of kindergarten will be Wednesday, the 27th, Wednesday before Labor Day.
That's typical, right?
Yes, typical.
It's the Wednesday.
Yes.
I can never remember if it's Wednesday
It's
or
the Wednesday. So we go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off.
Okay.
The first day for kindergarten is going to be September 4th. We have no school for Rosh Hashanah.
Jason,
yes.
Can we, can I put it, or John, can you put the calendar up on the screen?
Yeah.
Thanks, sorry, Jason.
That's okay. I was trying to request it.
Mine just never works. I'm sorry, Latanya, I try. I try.
You may
Yeah, you
go slow in the meantime?
Yeah.
So Rosh Hashanah is the 23rd and 24th of September. Head to October. There's no school on the 2nd for Yom Kippur and the 13th for Indigenous Peoples Day. We have our first PD half day on the 22nd, October 22nd. Head on down to November. No school on the 11th for Veterans Day. We have SES and SMS conferences on the 13th. We have SMS conferences on the 18th.
Thank you, John.
And SMS conferences on the 20th. And then we have the day before Thanksgiving is a half-day as well.
Great.
You head to December, we have conferences for the high school on December 3rd. We have PD on December 10th, and then a half-day on December 23rd.
So that 12 o'clock dismissal, that's only for the high school, right? And like on the 20th of November, that's only for middle school?
Exactly.
Those 12
Yes.
dismissals?
Those are
Okay.
the conference days. Everybody else will have a full day
Yeah.
during the conference. Yep.
Jason, can I just ask you, I'm sorry, I should have asked on November. There's no elections that first week? That would,
Not that we're shutting school down for it, no.
okay,
No.
or half days or anything, okay.
No.
Yeah, inevitably, there'll be something, but not a big.
There's not a big one. So then we go to, the 2nd is the Friday, January 2nd is the Friday we could come back. We're going to come back the 5th. We'll have
Yeah, makes
way
sense.
more attendance on the 5th,
Yeah, makes sense.
okay?
Good decision.
The 19th, the school is closed for Martin Luther King Day. Then we head to February. We have professional development February 4th. We have school vacation the 16th to the 20th. And students and staff return on the 23rd. Heading into March, March 11th is elementary school conferences. Again, it would be a full day for everybody else. And March is always, there's not a whole lot in March. So we'll go into April. April 2nd, we have professional development. The 3rd is Good Friday. And then we have April 20th to the 24th is school vacation week, and the kids and staff come back on the 27th.
Okay.
So the professional development are April 2nd?
April 2nd, February 4th, December 10th, and October 22nd. And then you also have the first 2 days of
The
school.
first 2 days.
Yeah. So
It seems like less.
it is, because, part of our family engagement piece, we're hearing from families, so we're going from 6 PD days down to 4 this year. We're gonna do it as a pilot, because what we're hearing from families are that we have too many half-days, and it's really difficult on families, especially the elementary school students. It also impacts, because of the high school schedule, we wanna get the time on learning piece, we wanna make sure that they're having as many full days as possible as well. So we are confident that we can have quality PD with 4 PD days, as well as the first 2 days of school, and see how this goes.
So my only concern is that that is in the contract, and we've negotiated how many PD days there were.
So, yeah, Pam and I have talked about discussing this with the PD committee. Some of the PD committee members were on the calendar committee as well, which is not negotiated, it's just sort of a volunteer committee.
Okay.
So I don't think it's gonna be a problem, but we're gonna follow up with them as well.
Because I also want to make sure that our new director,
We've talked about this.
Okay.
We talked about this,
I don't want to hamstring somebody.
No,
coming in
absolutely not.
first year.
but, if part of our focus is gonna be the family engagement piece,
Did-
we wanna be able to make sure we're listening to the people that are,
I would imagine that nobody from the
calendar, right?
from the teacher side, from the union balked, because it means it's less PD, but it's the same number of days working?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Yep, and it's really hard to build continuity in the school when we don't have that string together a few full weeks of full days together. So I think the half-days situation is a challenge. It is interesting because, it runs the gamut. If you look at different towns, some have 2 PD days, some have 10, some have, so
Yeah,
we're still somewhere in the middle, but it is interesting.
it just seems like the April PD in particular seems sort of late in the year. But I will leave that up to the educators who know better than I.
And we're going
Yeah.
to May?
Good.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So, May 6th is a PD, just in case of snow. So if we miss a PD day because it's based on snow, we have, or any other reason, we have it caked in for May 6th. That would be a half-day if we need it. If not, it's a full day of school. All right. And then we have early release days on the 15th and 16th of June is the last 2 days of school. And that's the year.
Great. I actually have a question myself
Sure.
about the PD days. or really it's about the conferences.
Yes.
So I notice in November, November 11th is Veterans Day, which is a Tuesday. And then Thursday, there is a half day at elementary and middle only
Yep.
for conferences. I wonder if, for continuity's sake, since the 11th is a half day, would it be possible or, non-problematic to move that conference day to the 10th on a Monday, because school's going to be closed on Tuesday anyways, and that would give continuity for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
So what made, I totally understand what you're saying. What made me balk at that was people are going to be gone for a long weekend and not come back.
Good point.
That's
Okay.
what I thought.
No, that's
So-
a valuable point. Okay,
Yeah. But we talked about that, yeah.
all right.
And Juneteenth falls on a weekend, correct?
It falls on a Friday, but
Friday
after
the
we get out of
19th.
school.
Okay.
Yes, unless there's snow.
Okay.
And is graduation a TBD at this point?
Yes.
Okay. That's definitely one of those days that people ask early.
Yes, I know. Yeah,
Graduation.
even for middle school, I can't imagine high school,
Yeah.
so.
Okay. All right, I don't have any questions. Anyone else have questions?
No, I think this is just a first read, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Great, thank you.
All right.
And remind me, who's on the committee?
Calendar committee was myself, Becca Buckman, Natalie Poverchuk, Latanya Mackey, Sue Comparato, and Michelle Yanofsky.
Familiar faces, great.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
And now to the fun stuff. I have an update on our Director of Teaching and Learning. We had 3 rounds of interviews. We narrowed the applicants down to 2 finalists. The third and final interviews consisted of Superintendent Angelakis, Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations, Ms. Stella, the Director of HR, Ms. Colts, and myself. And I'm excited to announce and present our new Director of Teaching and Learning, Ms. Sarah Kent, who is in the audience today.
Exciting.
Sarah will begin working full-time on July 1st, but we're discussing a transition plan now. And I'd like to read a little of Sarah's bio, if that's,
Absolutely.
if that's okay. Sarah Kent has spent more than 25 years in education, bringing energy, creativity, and a deep commitment to student success. Most recently, she was the Chief Academic Officer and Assistant Superintendent in Waltham Public Schools. She's passionate about fostering deeper learning experiences. Sarah prioritizes student voice, choice, and engagement, ensuring all students have the opportunities to build on their strengths. Her leadership is grounded in data-informed decision-making, goal setting, and a strong belief in distributed leadership, collaboration, and the power of teams. She specializes in curriculum development, academic programming, professional development, and assessment with a focus on improving student outcomes and promoting equity through purposeful and rigorous instruction. Sarah earned her undergraduate degree from Yale University and a master's in English language and linguistics from the University of New Hampshire. She's a longtime Swampscott resident. She's been part of the community for over 20 years. Outside of her professional life, Sarah enjoys spending time with her husband and son. She's an avid sailor. She competes regularly in Maine and along the East Coast, and she also enjoys crafting and making jewelry, and we are lucky to have her, and I'm very excited to work with Sarah, and she is here today.
Excellent. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Your bio is incredibly impressive, and we're just so excited to have you here. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about the thought process on making this transition?
Sure. So I'm thrilled to be here and really looking forward to starting full time. I've had my eye on trying to get into Swampscott for a long time, as you can imagine. I live right up the road. And I have been working in Waltham for the last 4 years, basically since the pandemic. Prior to that, I worked in Chelsea for 23 years, and I came up through the ranks. I started as a teacher, then moved to be a coach, and I was a coach for a long time. When I got married, had kids, did all that stuff. So I was a elementary math coach for 13 years. And then from there went and did STEM, K to 12. And from there went into chief academic officer, so all the humanities came in, to assistant superintendent. And then when I moved to Waltham, right after the pandemic, I did the same job, lateral move. I'm not interested in being a superintendent. I'm a curriculum person. I like classrooms and books and kids. So when the Swampscott position opened up and I could think about getting off of 128 and serving the community that I've been living in for 20 years, it was a no-brainer. I'm really looking forward to it. I've read a lot about your school improvement plans and your core work. It all aligns with what I've been doing, and I'm just excited to come on board.
Excellent, thank you. Amy?
I don't have any questions. I just want to say I know one of your colleagues from way back who is a pretty tough nut, who told me that we are really lucky to have you. So I just wanted to say that publicly, that I am thrilled that you're here because her, obviously I trust in the people who are doing the hiring, but it's nice to hear from an old colleague about how fantastic you are. Yeah. She said you were the best person that she's ever worked with, hands down. So,
okay, well, I'm going to make me blush. Thank you.
And you know her, she's tough.
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Amy. John?
Yeah, and Sarah, welcome, and, I'm glad to hear that it sounds like you're going to bring your external experience plus kind of knowing
Right.
Swampscott as well, so I think those two things, I'm really glad to hear about that, so,
Yeah.
Good luck on your.
Yeah, I used to work with the SEF group for quite a few years. I also helped coach Little League Baseball. I've been in the community doing things for a while. I mean, the pandemic sort of set that back, but I'm really looking forward to merging those two things as well.
Yeah, that's great.
Great, thank you. Again, we're incredibly excited to have you. Kudos to you to not have to go on 128 any longer. It's for you as me, great, life
Yes.
change, so that's great. Again, your reputation preceded you, so welcome aboard. We look forward to hearing your presentations in the future. And as we say to everybody, the school committee is here to help in any way, shape, or form.
That's great.
And welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
I'm
coming
really
tonight,
looking
too.
forward to working with the team. It seems like an outstanding team that you have in central office, but throughout the whole district. So I've gotten such a warm welcome already that it's really great. And I'm really looking forward to collaborating.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, welcome aboard.
Sarah.
Thank
I will say, I wrote it down. It was the first time I've heard the term distributive leadership, and I like that.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, so now I'm really curious. Can you kind of delve into what that means?
Sure. It's basically what it sounds like, but it's creating teams and passing the ownership and the leadership to others, right? So we do our best work when we have multiple brains around the table and we work together to get something done. So you sort of distribute the leadership around the table, work shoulder to shoulder to get things done and have people feel the ownership and the success and feel creative and good about what they do. And it,
Valued.
yeah, and make them feel valued, exactly. Yeah, and hear their perspectives and take that into consideration and work together to find solutions and make things better for kids.
Great. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Again, thank you for coming.
No problem.
Mr. Kalishman, anything?
All right. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Don't feel obliged to stick around.
Yeah, Sarah.
I mean, you can, but.
So you were mentioning the transition plan?
So we're working on a transition plan. We're meeting next week. I believe we're going to.
Well, yeah, I'm going to send more dates.
Okay,
Yeah,
we're
as I
working
go.
on the dates to figure it out. So
Great.
We want Sarah to, meet as many people as she can meet to
Right.
hit the ground running. That way we can hit the ground running on July 1st.
Attend some staff meetings,
Yes.
do those kind of
Yep.
things.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, thank you.
Thank
Anything
you.
else?
So I want to talk about Mr. Kohut for a second. As you may have heard, after 18 years of Swampscott High School, Mr. Kohut will leave us at the end of the school year. I want to thank Mr. Kohut for his many years of service and dedication to Swampscott students, staff, and families. His tenure has brought stability that our high school had not seen until his tenure. We wish him all the best in the future, and he will be missed.
Great. I just also want to say thank you to Mr. Kohut. He took over when my twin boys were freshmen after an unfortunate incident, and he really just definitely helped lower the temperature a little bit. So good luck to Mr. Kohut. We're all in your corner.
I hope we'll have the opportunity to, if he feels like it, to
Yeah.
see him here.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. I'd love to thank him in person as well.
I know it's a long commute for him, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then lastly, the question that everybody had was that, what's going to happen with the high school? So it's my pleasure to announce that our new high school principal has been named.
Yep.
And after 14 years of working at Swampscott High School and 3 years working at Swampscott Middle School, I'm excited to announce that Ms. Sato will be the principal of Swampscott High School. Moving forward, she is smart, she is kind, she's an incredible instructional leader. She connects with families, students, staff, she supports staff, she holds students accountable in the nicest way possible, and she's the perfect fit for Swampscott High School. So we're really lucky and excited to have her.
Great. Again, I'll comment, have had the pleasure to know Ms. Zotto for many years with, my own kids and through just various meetings here, and I am very confident that she will do an amazing job.
I could not be more thrilled. I think that she is a pretty amazing person, and her leadership style is impressive. What's going to happen at the middle school?
So
I mean, I would imagine that that's particularly near and dear to you since you're leaving.
that's my baby.
Yeah.
That's my baby, yeah.
So what happens there?
So we've posted for the position. We have 6 first-round applicants that we've moved on to the first round. So
Yep.
we had, of the many people that applied, we have 6 that we're going to interview. The committee has been formed, and we're starting the process next Thursday,
Do we have any internal candidates?
not for principal.
Okay.
I stand corrected. We may have an internal candidate, but there's yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we have an internal candidate, yes.
Okay.
Great. Okay. Excellent. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Great. Thank you very much.
We have DEI directive and core strategy on here.
Pam's skipping that to the next.
Okay, okay. I would imagine that has a lot to do with
Yeah.
Department of Education.
Exactly.
Okay,
And
Yep.
and Glenn, I just want to add about the selection of Ms. Zotto. Great choice. We also crossed paths quite a bit with
Right.
with my kids as well, and she was terrific. And, I just think it's going to be a great choice for the high school.
Great. Good. Again, I think we're all very happy about
Assuming the staff knows that.
I met with the high school staff yesterday,
Okay, good.
and Ms. Otto told the middle school staff yesterday.
Okay.
that. Great.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Jason. All right. So for me, for updates, I'm going to just skip the update for a second and come back. We haven't had another tri-chair meeting in a bit. I mean, there's been a lot of public meetings about the budget. We continue to answer various questions from the Finance Committee, from the Select Board. There is a meeting with the Finance Committee and the School Committee on, I believe it's the 23rd or 24th of March.
I think it's the 24th.
24th, thank you. And again, we continue to answer questions. We are, just for the public to know, and I know I sound like a broken record, we are about $700,000 apart, give or take. And I know, I don't want to speak for Ms. Stella, but I think I will. We have gone through this budget again and again and again and again, and so maybe we can save a penny or two, but the reality of the situation, I know we've said it before, is core. If we have to reduce, it will come from core education. And, and unlike on the town side where, I know they're also talking potential reductions, but some of the town reductions are from are from open positions that they're not going to fill. We don't have that luxury here. Every position in a classroom is filled. So we will continue to work with all our partners on the town side. We very much appreciate the questions. Ms. Stella has been absolutely, positively incredible of not just answering questions, but giving backup data and then backup data on top of backup data to show the community where we are as a school district.
Is Ms. Stella still on with us?
I think Ms. Stella is on with us. Oops, if you...
I'm here.
There we go. Hello, Ms. Stella.
Hello.
Anything, very generic you'd like to add about budget or anything like that? Anything from any perspective you'd like to add? And I understand if you really don't.
No, I mean, I think you did a really good job summarizing that. Even this week, I went through our budget again, line by line, really trying to see, is there anything there at all that I could see that we could potentially reduce? And to your point, the only line was something that amounts to really peanuts. So I don't think that there's a way for us to cut our way out of this scenario. So I think we still need to continue to talk with the members of the town and really figure out then how do we resolve this problem, because it is a problem.
Great.
Have you been meeting with Amy Sorrow?
We had we had a meeting this week, myself, Superintendent Angelakis, Amy Sorrow, and the interim town administrator, Mr. Cresta, had our first meeting this week. They started walking us through some things on the town side, but the meeting actually ran far longer than we had anticipated, so we do have another meeting set up for March 21st, I believe. So it should be a Friday. So that's a continuation of the meeting we had this week.
Great.
I had a really interesting conversation with Naomi Dreben about in preparation for our all coming together with the Finance Committee meeting. There were a couple of things that stood out that I wanted to share with our group. And so the first is, which is not about Naomi, but about something that Doug Thompson said at our group meeting, which was when we did say, look, if we have to make cuts, that this means layoffs. And he was genuinely surprised, and I think that speaks to the level of explanations that we need to be really conscious of, that we know what $600,000, $700,000 means, but not everybody does, and that this isn't about less crayons or cheaper, copy machines. So, I think that it's really important for us to, and this gets to the conversation that I had with Naomi, that, there are a lot of new people on that committee, and they're just learning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that one of the things that we have the advantage of is that when you become a school committee member, the first thing that we do is we go to school committee member training, and that we have a really strong sort of professional force behind us that can help guide us. That is not true for the members of our select board and the members of our finance committee. They're really on their own, learning it, some for the first time. And I know for me, it's been frustrating, and I think that's maybe one of the downsides of having done this for a long time. But the upside is that I have that information to share. So I think that it's important for us when we go into that meeting to just be really open-minded to the idea that they really are just learning. They really do have to understand this, and that the more we can get them to understand where we're coming from, and more importantly, what cuts mean, the better off we'll all be. Because I think Doug's response was really genuine when he was, surprised by what cuts meant. So I say this for myself as much as for my colleagues. One of the things that I said was, we look forward to teaching and explaining, because it really is complicated, but that it is, we're not there for help in trying to find where to cut, because we are very skilled in that, as has been proven over the last 5 years with all of our cuts. So, I think I think there's an understanding there, and I really appreciate Naomi and the way that she sort of talked this through with me, so
Great,
there's that.
great,
If I can just add on to that.
absolutely.
I agree with everything you just said, and I think the part you said about being open-minded and explaining what cuts really mean at this point is really important. You touched on it right at the end. What I was going to say was, I think saying where we've been and what we've done is really important to understand the context of why we're where we're at right now. And,
Right.
you know, I think it was mentioned at that tri-board meeting about the number of FTEs from 4 years ago to now. It's much, I mean, it's a huge drop.
Yeah.
And it was like 50 or 60 less FTEs, something
Right.
like that. I think that's important information, just, you know, I don't think redundancy and reiteration is a bad thing.
Right.
Going into that meeting to say
Right.
that again, because it may not have
Yeah.
landed, and
Right.
just understanding, just, you know, like you said, it's
I think
really
so.
not about crayons and
Yeah.
what's left to cut
I
anymore.
think something that I am guilty of, that, you know, when you talk about, you know, reiterating what's happened in the past, I do think that it is really important that it's just about the budget itself and not about the perhaps events that we have been frustrated by.
Right. I wasn't thinking about that at all.
Yeah.
But I completely agree with you, and I know it's
Yes.
hard, I know I'm really guilty of that.
Yeah.
But I think both of what you're saying is, it is our job to educate,
Yeah.
because I know we, you know, Cheryl and the superintendents, you know, and us, you know, we know it. We know line item by line item, but we have to share that information, and, you know, as John, as you said, you know, share it again and again and again to, you know, so people understand it at least, you know, close to what we understand it, and what, you know, what a cut in education and to a core teacher actually means.
Yeah.
So, those are great points, guys. So again, we will continue to meet with anyone and anyone who asks, and we'll, you know, we'll answer questions. Some folks may not love our answers, but our answers, and again, the hats off to Cheryl and team, is our answers are fact. You know, they're factual numbers, and we look forward to working with everybody again. Just one more point, I know it's not on here, I do want to let the community know that the school committee is actively involved with negotiations on a new contract for both the Swampscott Education Association main unit, that's the teachers, educators, nurses, et cetera, as well as the other two units, which is the ESPs and the tutors.
Yeah, the paraprofessionals.
The paraprofessionals, thank you. We continue to meet on a weekly basis. We talk a lot via email, and we are all, both sides are diligently working to come to an agreement. Again, we're using the IBB method of negotiations, and that just, I know I've said it before, really is a game changer for everybody. Everyone can have their say, everyone listens, there's no judgment. And so I look forward to continuing on our way, and I thank our entire committee for that. All right. With that, subcommittee, any policy update, John?
Just one thing, I don't think it was the last meeting, it may have been the meeting before. We have the cell phone policy that was ready to go. We met with all the stakeholders. I think Mr. Kalishma was involved in that conversation. Came to a meeting of the minds. I had the draft done, it was the final version, and a technology glitch.
I was gonna say, I hear
It
something bad coming.
disappeared. It disappeared, and I remember saying that, you know, it was a technology issue, and I recreated it, and I just want to share it one more time to make sure, I think it's identical to where it was, because I'm, you know, but just to make sure, what my point is, I anticipate bringing that back for a second read and
Great.
having a vote, hopefully next meeting.
Great, perfect. All right, thank you. All right, any public comment? Feel free.
Hi folks, Maura Lau,
Maura, hold on one second.
We can
You
do
wanna
it.
lower?
If you want to sit,
Yeah,
I'll
Maura,
just give you
come-
one of these.
Are you sure?
That's okay.
You're used to it, right?
Sure.
You're a pro.
I don't know if I'm used to it, but unfortunately, you're all used to it. So Mar-a-Lago, 15 Outlook Road. I have a feeling you all know why I'm here. So Glenn, when you responded to my email about Mr. Kohat's departure last week, I sat on that email for days. At the end of the school year, about him departing at the end of the school year, your responding email said, thank you for your feedback, and that just wasn't feedback. That is just full anger and disappointment and skepticism and real sadness at the losing of Mr. Kohat. So Mr. Kohat is a fantastic English teacher. And I got to know him in 2011 when my oldest was a freshman. He was kind and caring and even-tempered. Then, and with at least 100, I'm saying 100, but I'm sure it's more, consecutive interactions since then, he's just never disappointed me because that initial person was just always present in everything that I worked with him in, which was school council for 9 years. He sat on school council as a teacher. He was always present physically and verbally and mentally, and the good of the students was just always foremost in his mind. I really have to wonder what brought us to this situation, choice or not. And I fear after 18 years, this was not a choice but a nudge. You can't spin this to me, anyways, as good news because I just don't see it that way. At a time when we need consistency and continuity, this creates upset. And that's upsetting. I have had and voiced significant apprehension for Mr. Kalishman in the role of superintendent. And I feel like this is a direct reaction in some capacity with Mr. Kohat leaving. I feel that this was an appointed position for Ms. Angelakis, and with whom I very much hold in high regard, and I have said this to this committee and to her, but this really feels like a poor, ill-conceived decision. This is a poor decision from Ms. Angelakis and from the board, and I know you are all volunteers, and I respect that greatly. But you've really made an error in judgment, and it's had consequences, and the ripple effect is now being felt. This is the time to buckle down and tighten our straps because the weather of tsunami is just, coming full force that will, changes from the government that will affect our students, will affect our schools. This was not the thing to do right now, and every effort should have been made to keep Mr. Kohat in that position and make changes that you felt were necessary. This is not the time to upset and unearth and just blow things up. You have to work the problems in front of us, and we have plenty of problems in front of us that are obvious. I know I'm going to speak faster. I'm sorry. I have a mint in my mouth.
4 minutes.
After years, so this feels ill-conceived, and frankly, disrespectful to a long-standing teacher, assistant principal, and then principal. And I can't say anything nice about it. I feel bothered, and I feel very disappointed that this is where we're at. As I said in my email, I have 1 kid out of 4 who has had consistent principals. Principals have not been the hallmark of positivity in this district. This is just unnecessary, and you got it all wrong. And let me just hope that I will give a nudge to the teachers to say, in all of the buildings, I've had a student in this district since 2002 when we sent Connor to kindergarten, and the teachers need to get on board in all of the buildings, because there is just, in every building I've been in with my students, my kids, there's just always controversy. It feels at times like a high school thing, and it's got to stop. We've got to support each other.
Mark, I'm going to have to, it's 5.5 minutes. Okay?
All right.
Thank you very much.
So can I just, this is not at all related to you guys, but can I just say for Master Plan Committee, this coming Thursday, March 20th, 6:30 to 8:30, please all citizens come and get your voices heard. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone out in the universe of social media? John, anyone out there?
I don't see any hands, but if anybody does want to speak, please put your hand up now.
All right.
Not seeing any hands.
Great, thank you. Okay. Moving along, oh, there we go. Actions and votes. So we have a bunch of donations, and everyone will allow. I will read these one by one because I think it is important to go through. So we'll start with a donation that came in on the 24th of February. The name of the donor grant organization is Randy Werner. They from Andover, and Randy is an individual. They are donating $1,000. The donation is made to the athletics department in the great memory of Coach Frank DeFelice. To Mr. Werner, thank you so much. That is incredibly generous. The donation in Coach DeFelice's name. We very much appreciate the donation. I just, if I could, this letter was sent to Kelly and the athletics department. Dear Kelly, encloses $1,000 donation to Swampscott High School athletics in memory of Coach Frank DeFelice. As a member of the class, Swampscott High School class, of 1971, I'm grateful to Coach DeFelice, who had a tremendous impact on my life and countless others that were fortunate to play for him. Go Big Blue, sincerely, Randy Werner, class of 1971.
Can we make sure that in addition to, and Jason, this is mostly to you, and Pam, that in addition to a thank you to Mr. Werner, that we also let the family of Coach DeFelice know that something came in his honor?
Great, thank you. Kind of a process question. Can we vote all 5 at once, or we have to
Yeah.
go one by one? All right, so we're just going to vote all 5
Yep.
at once.
That's really what the consent agenda is
Okay.
meant for.
Okay. I think you've told me that a
Yeah,
million times.
it's okay.
Sometimes just to go through my noggin. Next, person making the donation is, hold on one second, is Swampscott Track Boosters, outdoor track and field. It's part of the Boosters program. They are donating $646, donation for coaching stipend for an indoor track and field coach at the high school for girls and boys programs. Again, the donation is for a coaching stipend, $646. We very much appreciate the donation from the Swampscott Track Boosters. Next, we have donation from the high school boys, excuse me, high school boys basketball boosters. And this is for a donation of $2,660. The donation for coaching stipend for Ron Young. It's restricted to Coach Young's payment. Again, the donation is from the high school boys basketball boosters for $2,660 on behalf of the school committee. Incredibly generous. And we greatly appreciate it. The students and the players greatly appreciate it as well. Thank you. Next, Big Blue Boys High School Lacrosse Boosters Program. They are donating $2,882. A donation to the Swampscott High School Boys Lacrosse Program to cover half the cost of new helmets for the team. And again, from the Big Blue Boys High School Lacrosse Boosters, they're donating helmets, paying for about half the cost, the other half being paid for by the athletic revolving account. And again, that donation is $2,882. Similar to the basketball program, on behalf of the school committee and the entire Swampscott Public School District, thank you very much for that donation. It goes a very long way. Lastly, we have a donation from Shore Diversity, and they are donating $300, and it's a reimbursement for supplies and pizza for the Metco Black History Month door decorating contest of 2025, and the purpose is to assist with the cost of supplies, the pizza party for the winners. Again, the donation is from Shore Diversity for $300. I would like to thank you for that donation. For every program we have here, it would not run without the generosity of the citizens of Swampscott and what the support that they show the Swampscott Public Schools on every level, whether it's this diversity program, athletics, books, anything. And we very much appreciate it, and from the bottom of my heart, I do say thank you. So if I could I ask someone to make a motion to accept all 5 donations?
I'll make the motion.
John?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, there is no opposed. It
Could we
passes
discuss for a little bit, though?
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Kalishman, since you're sitting here at the table, I'm going to talk about something that I feel like I've talked about a bunch of times, which is equity. It is not consistent in terms of these gifts that we get, particularly from the boosters. Who is paying for their own coaches and who's not paying for their own coaches? I don't want to cast any aspersions, but it's interesting that these are all boys' sports. It's interesting that it's boys' sports I'm looking at the helmets, and this cost, the cost of helmets is, they're paying half, it's $2,800, so that means it's $3,000 worth of helmets that that we're paying for. We don't even pay the coach of our cheer team that money, and it feels it seems very uneven. And I think that this is something that I would like you to look into over when you take the reins. There seems to be sort of a consistent, it's curious to me why some teams get a lot of money and some teams don't, so.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Amy. All right. There's really no consent agenda because we're only going to approve one minutes. That's from the regular session of February 6th, 2025. Can someone please make a motion to accept the
I will
minutes?
make a motion to
John?
approve.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Before we adjourn, anything from anyone else on the dais? Okay, Jason? anything? All right, so with that, again,
I will make a motion to adjourn.
John,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
We are out. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.